Hello and good evening viewers. Once again this is me Imchen back with yet another episode of Career Mantra. Just like all other episodes, today also we have come up with an interesting career option which I am sure will help you to build a bright and successful future. We believe at the end of the show you will be standing in a much better place to choose this emerging and demanding option as a career. And as you know, every week we are joined by a panel of experts who enlighten us and answers all the queries. So today we have been joined by two experts who will tell us more about this career option. Viewers, today we have Mr. Brigonga Bharadwaj and Ms. Sangita Boro, Assistant Professors, Program of Microbiology from Assam Downtown University. Well, I think that hint is enough that today we would be discussing about microbiology as a career option. So without further delay, let's start today's show. Welcome Bharadwaj sir and Ma'am Sangita.
Thank you.
So let's continue this show and let's start with what microbiology is, sir.
Yeah. So when we talk of microbiology, basically it means about the study of microorganisms. Now we need to understand about microorganisms before we go on to elaborate on microbiology and its aspects. So microorganisms, why they are called as microorganisms, are because they are too tiny for us to see through our naked eyes. So we need the aid of a microscope to observe them or to see them, and that is why they are called as microorganisms. They are too tiny, too small. And the study about such organisms or microorganisms is called as microbiology. Now in microbiology we learn about different types of microorganisms. Now we talk about bacteria, there can be viruses, there can be fungi, there can be algae, even though fungi and algae are eukaryotic cells, but still they come under microbiology. Then viruses, then say your parasites, parasitology. So these are different aspects of microbiology or different microorganisms that we learn about in the field of microbiology. Now when we talk about microbiology or learning about or knowing about these microorganisms, we need to learn about or we learn about all the aspects of these organisms. So there are certain beneficial aspects, there are certain harmful aspects. So we tend to learn everything about these microorganisms. And with the advancements of science now, because as I have said, these are microorganisms and they are very tiny and very small to study or see, there are problems even in understanding their life or their life cycle. How do they live, how do they cause infection in us, or even if they are helping us in a particular food substance, which we will be dealing with later in the show. We will be talking about that, how they are beneficial to us or how they are harmful to us. So all those we will cover. But before we go on to understand those things, we needed a lot of scientific interventions. We needed a lot of advanced machineries or equipments so that we get the aid or help to see into them or look inside those microorganisms, look at the way they function, look at the way they live, or the way they cause infection in case of harmful infections, harmful microorganisms, the ones that causes infection. It can be a bacteria, it can be a fungi, it can be a virus. So with the advancements of science, we are trying to know, or we are getting to know more and more about these microorganisms, and it is making microbiology a much more advanced subject than it was ever before.
Okay, sir. So viewers, taking this topic further about microbiology as a career, let's now know about what microbiology deal with, and we shall have the answers from ma'am.
Okay. So if we are asked about what microbiology is deal with, like as sir has already told, then microbiology is the study of microorganisms. Now when we talk about microorganisms, what comes to our mind directly is bacteria, but it's not only just bacteria that we study about. When it's microorganisms, there are many other tiny objects, many tiny organisms. There are bacteria, there are fungi, there are viruses, there are parasites, there are algae. So these are all living organisms which come under the category of microorganisms. And then when we are dealing with them, that means we are studying into into their beneficial as well as their harmful aspects. Now, when we talk about bacteria, we see that there are many bacteria which are helping us in some way, whereas there are a lot more who are harmful to us. Harmful in the sense they are causing diseases in our body. And then similarly, there are such fungi also. So, and moreover, we also study about this fungi or bacteria. They're helping us in production of certain, maybe beverages or certain food products, or we talk about biofertilizers. So, these are different studies that we can do on this particular subject called microbiology, including all of these different organisms. So, that's all, and we can progress further with this topic more.
Okay. So viewers, we have heard both from sir and ma'am that microbiology is a whole big aspects where it deals with the study of microbes and those tiny microbes which we cannot see through our naked eye. So I want to know more about microbiology, and let's get more answers from our sir about microbiology in day-to-day life.
Yeah, so I find this question very interesting, and not long back, I think 1 year back, I had one Facebook live. I am not the tech savvy though. I had done one Facebook live during this COVID-19 pandemic phase, and therein we had talked about the aspect of microbiology in our day-to-day life. Now, we even though this is a talk on microbiology as a career, or someone should take microbiology as a career, or what are the prospects of it, but even after that, I would also like to say, like, everybody in the household should know the basics of microbiology, so that it helps us in the way that we talk about infections, we talk about getting diseases and all those things. But if you know the basic microbiology, or just it is a skill set basically, if you get to know that skill, you do not need to know the entire process of it and the entire details of it, but if at least if you know the basic hygiene practices that we need to carry out, that we need to maintain, so that we don't get the diseases. Say for example, we know about, say during this COVID, let us take the example of SARS-CoV-2 infection. So they said, like, there are preventive measures that you can take, but it is very difficult to treat, or they did not practically have an antiviral drug that could kill the virus. But what they said, like, it is always better to prevent. Prevention is better than cure, as they say. So they had the government, or all the officials or the scientists, they had adopted numerous techniques or methods or ways to prevent the disease. That is by, say, like, maintaining social distance. How do we know that we need to maintain social distance? Because we know that when we speak, or when we are very close to each other, there may be droplets that come out of my mouth, and it will be disseminated in air, and you may breathe it in. So the virus from me can get into you.
Yeah.
So if we are far apart from each other, the virus will not get to you, you will not get the disease. So this is a prevention. This is a basic knowledge of microbiology. Say for example, we talk about typhoid. Typhoid is a bacterial infection caused by Salmonella typhi, say for example, and this bacteria is present in water, contaminated water. We call it contaminated water. So if we do not filter our water properly, if we do not boil it properly, and if we consume it, there may be a possibility of getting typhoid. And not only typhoid, there are numerous such microorganisms which are present in water. So through them we can get an infection. So this is about the harmful aspect. So if we get to know about different ways how we get infection and diseases caused by microorganisms, then we can take those preventive measures so that we remain protected. So that will help us in day-to-day life. Now coming to the beneficial aspects, we talk about different, we all being from Northeast India, we have a lot of traditionally fermented beverages. So all these beverages actually uses microorganism. We do not practice it. In our traditional knowledge, we do not practice the use of microorganisms. We just carry out the process like our forefathers had done earlier. You are from Nagaland, you know it better.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have been doing this because I had many students from Nagaland, and I know about Anishi and Akhuni. I like Akhuni, by the way. So these are all fermented products, and these fermented products are the way it is that we get to eat only because of the impact of microorganisms on it. Because at the beginning, when you place all the things together, it is not the end product. It is not like the end product, is it not? You leave it for some time, and then it becomes something else. So something happens during this period, and that is done by the microorganisms, and that is how we get all this aroma, flavor, texture, taste, and everything. Now many a times, if you have come across, or the viewers will be able to relate to this, like sometimes the quality of akhuni will not remain the same all the time. You will say
Yes,
like this
yes.
is better and this is not that better. This is not, the texture of it is not that good, the flavor is not that good, or the taste is not that good, but this is better. That is because of certain times there may be spoilage, there may be contamination. There are good microorganisms which will make it better. Then in addition to that, through say like different sources from air, from water, there may be harmful bacteria that may come here and it can spoil the entire thing.
Okay.
So that is when the quality of it will get deteriorated.
Sir, now I get it, because whenever I taste akuni, there will be like good akuni, bad akuni. So I always think, is it because of the maker? She didn't put something.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
today I got to know
Yeah,
that it's
because
of
what I am trying to say over here is because these are traditional practices that we carry out, and in traditional practices there are mostly it varies from tribes to tribes, because we have so many tribes and sub tribes in Northeast. It varies from tribes to tribes, but the main ingredients of all this traditionally fermented products remains the same. So there is no problem in the process, but how well do we carry out this process? If we do not use proper techniques, proper sterilized methods, then there is always a possibility of microbial contamination, and that can harm or spoil the quality. That the same thing goes with beverages as well. Then again, another aspects in day-to-day life that we come across is the spoilage. Our vegetables get spoiled, our fruits get spoiled, is it not? So if you see, there is a very common thing that if we notice, whenever there is humidity, higher humidity, if the weather is gloomy, if the humidity is more, then next day you will see like there are growth of molds, say like those black color, white color things on citrus fruits and vegetables and all those things. So basically humidity plays a very important role in spoilage of this. We call them perishable because they easily get spoiled. That can include your vegetables, that can include your fruits. So they easily get spoiled because they have lot of water content in them, and the humidity also helps the growth of molds. Molds means you must have seen like this black color spore like powder like things growing on citrus fruits, then white color things, some filamentous things that we see, and those are molds, those are microorganisms, those carry out spoilage.
Okay.
So if we take care of these things in our day-to-day life, we will be able to protect or preserve our food stuffs properly. We will not have contamination in our traditional beverages or traditional food stuff that we eat, and we will also be able to keep ourselves away from the diseases that we suffer from. So this is an aspect of microbiology in day-to-day life. We all come across it, we all face it every single day, but we don't realize. So basically that is microbiology all around you. There are microorganisms all around you. As of now, in the air there are microorganisms. Yeah, so microorganisms are everywhere, and they are impacting in our life in different ways that we do not know, or that we are getting to know now with more and more of studies. So they have a lot of implications in our day-to-day life.
Okay, so I also have another one personal question, as I should say. Whenever I keep these masalas like chili powder, fish masalas and all this, and it gets, I don't know what to call it, but it will become something, I think it's fungus or fungi that comes out of it, and I don't use it for long, and it's not useful anymore.
Yeah,
how does it
that happens mostly if you notice it. If you have confined it in a very airtight container or in the packet, if you have not opened it and if it is airtight, then you will not get that problem. Mostly it does not happen. But if we somehow leave it open, or if there is any scope for air to enter, because air contains microorganisms, and with air the humidity and the moisture can get in, and that favors the growth of these molds, and that is why sometimes it will become very tight, and it will not remain powdery, rather it will become solid as something like that, because that is because of the humidity and accumulation of microorganisms over there.
Okay,
so
sir.
And mostly in those cases, in spices and say like chili flakes and other spices, they usually have antibacterial activity. They do not allow bacteria to grow. They are good for us because they kill bacteria, but molds, being higher organisms, they can resist and they can grow. So those are mostly spoiled by mold varieties.
Okay, ma'am, this may come as a surprise, but is there anything that you would add to this question, that microbiology dealing in day-to-day life?
Yes, sir has almost covered everything.
Yes.
Yeah, but then when we say about day-to-day life, like sir has told us that how sanitizing and all is very important. Like yes, on our own body we have so many microorganisms. Those are normal flora, normal microorganisms, and people actually don't know. Now, if we are asked if we have microorganisms on our body, we may say that we don't have because we don't see them.
Yes.
But then we are already, like from the day we are born, we are in contact with this microorganism. So it's like we are living along with them. So there's not a single day that we are devoid of them. So we cannot say they are a part of our life.
Okay,
And
thank
that
you.
is why, like, you need to say mop your house, you need to take bath properly, you need to wash your hair properly, because there are microorganisms everywhere. It can get in from any part. If you have a small baby at home, like, then every morning and every evening, or maybe twice or thrice a day, they will mop the floor, because they will be on the floor and they will pick something up and they will put it in their mouth. So the reason for mopping it with something, say people use phenol, Lysol and all those things, these are disinfectants we call them, so that they cleans and kills all the microorganisms, so that we keep away from microorganisms. So that is another application.
Okay, sir. So, ma'am, if a student would like to study microbiology, what are the different fields of microbiology need?
Okay. Now, till now we have known that microorganisms are present everywhere, right? So, based upon that, microbiology has been divided into different branches. Like, first of all, I would like to tell about medical microbiology. Now, we are always dealing with different diseases, various infections, and all of this are caused because of microorganisms. And it is very much essential to know what is the reason behind causing this disease or infection. And so that leads to the study of medical microbiology. And this is one of the important branch that comes as the foremost branch in microbiology. And then yes, after this, now sir has already told about the influence of microorganisms in various food, right? So now we have got food production, I mean beverage production companies, then we have got dairy products. So all of this has the influence of microorganisms. Now, that leads to the branch called food and dairy microbiology, okay, or food microbiology. So we have this, we need to know about the spoilage, what is the reason behind causing of spoilage of food. Then we need to know how to pasteurize milk and to what temperature that milk has to be pasteurized so that there may not be any contamination. So, these are the basic things that are required to be learned by the students, and these things are taught in this branch called food and dairy microbiology. And then as we have talked about this traditional beverages, we know that wine is produced, we are using this microorganisms, fermentation of microorganisms leads to production of wine, and that has that has influence again in winery. Our students, not students, I mean the microbiologists, they have an important role in this wine producing companies or industries, wherein they are helping or they are using this technique of fermentation in production of wine in the wineries, and also they are checking the quality of them so as that wine that reaches us is in a good quality. You know, if it's too sour, obviously we would not like to have it. So these are certain things that are taken care of in the in the industrial sector. That is an industrial microbiology. And then there is another aspect, that is pharmaceutical microbiology. Now the antibiotics that we have, then are like other enzymes or probiotics. So this products or these drugs are made out of microorganisms. The antibiotics are synthesized by the different bacteria, by different fungi. So the implications of that comes in the pharmaceutical sector, and thus these students, they can study about pharmaceutical microbiology. So I think I have covered the branches. And yes, there is another thing, immunology. Immunology is an important aspect again. See, our immune system has to be strong to fight against the pathogenic bacteria. For this, we have to learn the mechanism of our immune system, and so that mechanism of the immune system is taught in this particular branch called immunology.
Okay. Sir, is there anything more that you would like to add to this?
If we talk about, say, different courses of microbiology or branches, if we say like different fields that microbiology deals with, see, Sangeeta has already said about food and dairy microbiology. Agricultural microbiology is another important aspect, wherein like we deal, because nowadays, say, like we India, specifically in India, we are an agricultural country. We are the majority of our economy is derived from the agriculture that we do. So we have been in a practice of using chemical fertilizers for ages. and that has taken a toll on the soil quality, soil fertility. And nowadays if you see in the areas, if you go to your villages, you will see, like if you speak to the farmers, they will say like the productivity that we used to have 5 years earlier has reduced drastically now. That is because of the loss of soil fertility, because of persistent use of chemical fertilizers and chemical pesticides and all those things. So microbiology can bring about a solution wherein you can get better productivity, you can increase soil fertility without using artificial fertilizers, by using biofertilizers. We call biofertilizers. This is made up of microorganisms. So there are certain microorganisms that are capable of helping the growth of different plants and crops. So we take those microorganisms, we make a biofertilizer out of those, and then that can be used for increase in the fertility of the soil, that will lead to increase in the productivity of the crops. That is one aspect. And there are other aspects in agricultural microbiology wherein we teach, say like there are fields like mushroom cultivation. You must have seen like mushroom cultivation has brought about revolution in, especially in Northeast India. There are a lot of people who had become self-sufficient through mushroom cultivation. So you cannot just do mushroom cultivation, you need to have proper teaching, proper learning, proper skill set to carry out mushroom cultivation, otherwise it will all get spoiled. Mushrooms are very sensitive to mold contamination. These fungi, they easily grow over there. So if mold grows onto your mushroom, but that also happens to be a form of mold only, but harmful molds, once it grows onto mushroom, it spoils the entire quality of the mushroom. So those things are also taught in agricultural microbiology. Yeah. Then comes your environmental microbiology. We are very concerned about our environment nowadays. We talk about global warming, we talk about reducing the pollution, we talk about improving our quality of life so that we do not have harmful impact onto the environment. So environmental microbiology is a field of study which deals with different microorganisms' ability to reclaim what has been destroyed by the harmful aspects of the environment. Say like heavy metals. Yeah, heavy metals cause soil pollution. You must be familiar with the Sadhguru's mission of safe soil, that campaign has taken, he has taken it to the world. So we need to save soil. If we need to save soil, first of all we need to do away with the plastics and heavy metals. Now plastics, we know it takes ages to decompose, it does not get degraded, it does not get decomposed. But with studies, we have studied the different microorganisms. Even in our lab we have studied about plastic degrading microorganisms, and in entire world there are different parts wherein we are studying about different microorganisms that are capable of degrading plastic. Now once we have a solution to microorganisms that can degrade plastic, the burden onto the soil and even in seas, oceans, if you see there are lots of plastic debris over there. So that can be dealt with. We can somehow will be able to reduce it. Then that is called as plastic degradation and bioremediation. Once we be able to use certain microorganisms to reduce the heavy metals, so it does not harm the soil as much, it will be less harmful to us or to the soil. Then next comes the use of wastewater treatment. In cities like Guwahati, or if you say Kohima, in major cities of Northeast India, I'd say, or rather we can say in context to India, we are a developing country and our wastewater treatment plants are not at par with the Western countries, wherein they almost have reached the pinnacle wherein they can sort it out very easily. But here if you see in Guwahati itself, if there is a rain, then the wastewater that goes out through the drains, they are not dealt with properly and it creates problem. If there is rain, the drain water comes out and that has so much of microorganisms, so much of heavy metals, so much of different harmful substances that can cause health hazard, infections, as well as it can cause loss to our properties. So there has to be a proper way of wastewater treatment, and water crisis is another aspect. We are heading to a phase wherein we will not have our next generations will not have water to drink. So we need to save as much water. So if we have a proper wastewater treatment plant, then this water that goes through your drains, sewage that goes through your drains, can be reclaimed, and those water, at least if not for drinking, that can be used for other household purposes, say like washing clothes and all those things. So wastewater treatment is another aspect that we need to learn, that we get to learn in environmental microbiology. So there are many aspects. I don't think we'll have enough time to talk about it and finish it, but in a nutshell, I would like to say, like, these are different aspects or branches of microbiology that deals to practically bring about solutions to human problems. Because every study that we do, humankind is a selfish kind. Every study that we do, mostly we do to know other things so that it can help us. So we try to bring about possibilities for us in every study we do. So microorganisms or microbiology has a lot of promise in it, so that it can bring about a lot of differences. And one more important thing is that microorganisms are numerous. We cannot confirmly say that we know about 20% or 50% of the entire microbial load on Earth. More, as much as we know of now, there are many times more of those organisms that we do not know about. So that search is going on. Every single day, if you can say, there are new microorganisms being identified and recognized, which has implications into in different aspects, as we have discussed now. Yeah.
We have the question, the different scope and career prospects as a microbiologist, and I would like to put this question to our sir.
Yeah. So scope of microbiology, more or less we have covered a lot of it in the previous questions.
Yes, of course.
So if we ask about the scope of microbiology, the scope of microbiology ranges from medical field, medical microbiology, when we talk about infections, diseases, their control, their parameter. Now we have in microbiology, we have medical microbiology. Before that, let me tell you, microbiology has two different fields. One is called as medical microbiology, the other one is called as applied microbiology. So medical microbiology deals only with medically important microorganisms. I mean, those microorganisms, it can be a bacteria, it can be a fungi, it can be a parasite, or it can be a virus that causes infectious diseases. So that is about medical microbiology. And the other field of microbiology, or other part of microbiology, is applied microbiology, wherein we more or less learn about all the fields of microbiology. We learn about agriculture microbiology, we learn about environmental microbiology, we learn about food microbiology, dairy microbiology, as well as medical microbiology. And along with that, we learn about the advanced biotechnological subjects or technological subjects like molecular biology, recombinant DNA technology, because those are important for us to investigate into different microorganisms. So the scope, if we come on to the scope of microbiology, we have scope in the field of medical microbiology. Yeah, one can understand how microorganisms cause infection, and until and unless we understand how microorganisms cause infection, we will never be able to stop the infection or cure the disease. So any problem, if we need a solution, if we seek a solution to a problem, we first need to understand the problem in detail, so that we can sort out, we can form a plan to find a result of it or a solution to it. So likewise in medical microbiology, as I have said, it deals with different infections that it causes, and how can we control it or prevent it or even eradicate it at certain and to certain extent. Now that again, in medical field, we also learn about different prospects of drugs, antibiotics. Say, as he has said, it comes from microorganisms. It can be a bacteria, it can be a fungi, and they are capable of producing certain substances which can kill other bacteria. So we take it out, we carry it out we carry out this process in pharmaceutical industries, and then we get a product we call antibiotic, and now it is used for killing another bacteria, say for example typhoid bacteria. Yeah, so that is medical field. Then coming to diagnostics. Diagnostics is a very important part. Microbiologists as well actually are more into diagnostics. Diagnostics in the sense, if a bacteria, say for example, if you have a particular symptom, say you have stomach upset, you have vomited, yeah, you have diarrhea, and something like that. If you go to a doctor, the doctor may think like, okay, this can be infection of typhoid. But based on nowadays, because there are so many similar infections, nowadays doctors do not usually treat only based on symptoms. they seek the help of diagnostic tools or diagnostic methods so that it can be pinpointly identified that this is the infection that this person is suffering. So he will ask you to do XYZ test, or we call it, say for example, Widal test for typhoid. You go to a lab, you give your sample, blood sample, and then they do Widal test. So likewise, there are lots of diagnostic tests that are to be carried out in a microbiology lab, and that is where the scope of microbiology lies, diagnostics in medical field.
Okay.
Then if we come out of the medical field, if we get into the applied field, say for example, pharmaceutical microbiology, or any industry, say for example, any industry that is associated with food or that is associated with water, this bottled drinking water that we drink, over there also this quality needs to be tested, because you cannot drink just water, because this can be a source of infectious agents, you can get infection out of it. So this needs to be prepared or processed in such a way that it has all the required minerals that you need, and also it should be free of microorganisms. So in every food related industry there are scope for microbiologists, because they will carry out the test, they will check if there is any harmful organism that can cause infection. Only when they say like there are no more infectious agents or there is no any infectious agents, those batches are passed. So there is a scope in industries. It is not confined to say a food industry. It also has application in pharmaceutical industry, it has application in beverage industry, wineries as she has said, and then any type of fermented food industries, your dairy industries, and numerous all forms of food related industries must have a microbiologist, and therein they carry out the testing and the research so that the product that you consume is no more or does not have any harmful effect to you. So that is industrial aspect. Then coming to the agricultural aspect, agriculture we have just discussed in the previous case. We can look into biofertilizers so that we can reclaim the wasted soil, we can increase the productivity, as well as we can say increase the soil fertility. So that is in case of soil. That is just an example of agricultural microbiology, and mushroom cultivation we had talked about. Then coming to environmental microbiology, we need a lot of research wherein we had talked about bioremediation, reducing the load of heavy metals. We had talked about wastewater treatment, and even then through wastewater treatment also we can have manures out of it that can be applied in fields. There are different methods though. Once someone takes this, before these are deeper things, I do not want to go into much deeper into it, because many of us who are not into microbiology will not be understanding it and may find it boring, but there are ways and means to do it. So that is what it makes it interesting. So these are different scopes of microbiology as a subject. Now if you talk about the career prospect, it is associated with the scope. As a career, someone may get into a diagnostic industry, a diagnostic lab. Someone may be a microbiologist, medical microbiologist. Someone can get into a food industry, they can seek a job. Someone can get into a pharmaceutical industry, someone can get into a beverage industry, someone can get into a biotechnological industry wherein a lot of products are produced out of microorganisms and those research are carried out. Our students have gone into research institutes wherein they have pursued research as their future career. Then teaching remains a prospect. Many of our passed out students are teachers now in different colleges in Guwahati. And this subject being new in, at least relatively new in Northeast India, we do not have that many people over here. Earlier, for all these industries that I have talked about in the Northeast, people used to come from outside Northeast because we did not have that many experts in this field. Even in my case or in her case, we had done our studies outside Northeast. So now at least our Northeast students have the scope of understanding and studying these courses here in Northeast.
Well, viewers, we have heard from Sir about the scope and career prospects in microbiology. Now let's hear from Sangeeta ma'am about the importance of microbiological research.
With research, when we say research is always done with a purpose that it benefits everyone. May it be human being, animal, overall the nature must be benefited. So when we talk about research in microbiology, that means we are trying out to find ways how microorganisms can be used for the betterment of the nature. Now, first of all, going to the medical field, now we see that antibiotics are produced out of microorganisms. I mean, antibiotics are produced by certain microorganisms, and then those antibiotics are then transformed into drugs, which are used by the patients to get treated from various infections. Nowadays, a problem is occurring, and that is called antibiotic resistance. That is happening in medical world, and that antibiotic resistance is causing because people are abusing antibiotics. That means when a doctor, like when we get a disease, what do? Is we go to the pharmacy directly. We talk to the pharmacist and say that I've got a sore throat, prescribe me something. I mean, you give me a drug, anything. So he will give you a antibiotic, and then that antibiotic must be taken for a certain duration. The dose, a particular dose must be taken for a certain duration. But what do? Within 2 days, when we feel that it's okay, we are fine now, we stop taking it. So that is leading to this particular problem called antibiotic resistance. That means the microorganisms, they are now, they have understood the mechanism of the antibiotic, and they are becoming stronger, and now they can fight against that antibiotic. So in that case, whatever antibiotic you are taking now will not be useful to them, to kill them. So that is why new researches are being done to find out antibiotics which can destroy such kind of microorganisms which has become resistant to the previous antibiotics. So this is an important research that is going on, and those antibiotics can be found out from various soil. The soil can be from any region, depending, like it could be soil from an agricultural area, or maybe a soil which is collected from the banks of river. So there are various reasons why we collect these samples from different areas, and thus this kind of researches are going on to find out antibiotics which can fight against such organisms. This is one very important research that is it's still going on, but maybe they are not coming out with result. And another reason is what? People, they start doing a research on something, but they stop midway. That is a big problem, and their purpose is not getting a product. Their purpose is just to write a paper to get publications, but that is not the, that should not be the purpose. That purpose should be that we are coming out of a product that should be beneficial for everyone. So that is how this research is lagging behind. Anyway, now after researches on such kind of thing like antibiotics, more researches are done, like sir had already told about different plants. Northeast is a land of biodiversity. We have so many different kinds of plants here, and we have got various traditional belief that certain plants will help us curing infections. Like for a very common example is when we get sore throat, what we take is tulsi mixed with honey and then ginger. So these are very common. But what is the reason behind that? It's because it has got some antibacterial property. These plants, they release some compounds. They have got compounds, which those compounds are helping in killing the microorganisms which are causing those infections. But that is a common belief, and many researches has been done now and has been established. But besides these common plants, there might be some other plants which are doing the same work, or not only for sore throat, there might be various other infections, even cancer, which has not been, there is no such cure for cancer. We need a cure for that. So maybe there are certain medicinal plants around us which can be found out, and they can be used as a cure for cancer. And you see, microorganisms, they are not stable, just as we see now COVID-19. We have seen so many variations of COVID-19 till now. Although vaccines has been discovered, still the COVID cannot be eradicated. So this is another challenge for the researchers. And then AIDS. We know this virus have been surviving for so long. Till now we have only the precautions, but we don't have a treatment for that. So that is how researches in microbiology is a continuous process. And then sir has very much told many a times about bioremediation, then biofertilizers. So there are so many microorganisms around us which can be used up for this. And I think we need more and more new microorganisms which can be used up for production of biofertilizers, and can be used, and certain microorganisms can be used for bioremediation, because we see our lands are polluted all over us, nearby, far away, everywhere it's polluted. So we need more microorganisms which can degrade such plastics or any such things which is causing these pollutions. So this is a vast topic. If we go on, we will not find an end to it. So this is we can find very minute things to find to start a research with in microbiology.
Well, viewers, we have heard from Bharatwaj sir and Sangeeta ma'am about biology, the career scopes, as well as the importance of microbiological research. Let's know about what Assam Downtown University has to provide or has been providing about microbiology from our ma'am.
Okay. Microbiology in Assam Downtown University started in the year 2012. We started with a master's program, and then we started with bachelor's, and then we also have now PhD program in microbiology at Assam Downtown University. So basically, it's BSc, MSc, and PhD. And for the students in BSc, it is a program for 3 years. First, it's semester wise, and for the first 2 semesters, the students, along with the subject related to microbiology, they need to study some basic subjects which deals with chemistry, then zoology, biochemistry, and because these are some important aspects that they need to know in order to study the subject further. So they need to study those subjects in the first semester and second semester, and later on from third semester onwards, they study on the other areas which are related to microbiology, like molecular biology, then immunology, then RDT, and then later on they study about medical microbiology, food and dairy microbiology, and pharmaceutical microbiology. Also for the bachelor's students in the final semester, that is in the 6th semester, we have we provide a research opportunity for them. That is so that they have an idea how to think about research, how to design a research, and then how to work upon it. So these are like small ideas that we ask the students to come up with, so that we can help them to get an idea on that, and they come up with a good outcome. And similarly, in the master's program, it is a program for 4 semesters, so they finish it within 2 years, and there too they study the similar kind of subjects which are in bachelor's, but then these subjects are more in detail in the masters, and then
advanced
it is it is in an advanced, and then in the final semester of masters again they have got this particular research project research, and there they have to again come up with research ideas, and we guide them. Different teachers in our different faculties in our program, they work as the project guide, and then those teachers, they help them to work out the research programs. And then we also have our PhD, as we told, so there are students who have been enrolled for the PhD program, and yes, they are working on various research projects on that.
Okay. So sir, ma'am, as we all know that class 10 and 12 results have been declared,
yes.
And then students, those who go through the examination, they might be wanting to study microbiology. So why should they choose microbiology for higher studies, sir?
Yeah, so biological sciences has evolved tremendously in last 20 years, I should say. So if I remember it properly, APJ Abdul Kalam once had said like 20th century was for computers and 21st century will be for biotechnology and biological sciences. And he was quite right about it, because there has been a lot of new developments, lot of discoveries, and lot of important breakthroughs in the field of biological sciences, and that has made the upcoming generations to seek to learn more about different courses of biological sciences, and one of such advanced biological sciences courses happens to be microbiology. Now we have already discussed about different career prospects of microbiology. Why, if we go on to, because we have been teaching for so long, I have been teaching for 12 years now. So what we try to look into in a student is what that student actually is there for. Every student that enrolls into a course may not have 100% inclination towards the course, because many a times the student chooses the course for themselves, and many other times the parents choose the subject for that happens very often, yes, in our society. So our first idea is to, as a teacher, to make out what they actually want to get in their lives and what they want to do going forward. So we try to guide them accordingly. Like continuing with your previous question, like what do we do at Assam Downtown University, I'll merge these 2 questions and I'll answer you, because these are related things. So we at Assam Downtown University try to be teachers, do not try to be their teachers or do not teach them alone. We try to be their mentors and guide. We have a mentorship system. We mentor them if someone has any problem at any front that can be related to studies, that can be related to any other problem. We try to sort it out, and we try to develop them as an individual who can go out of the institution and contribute to the society, because we not only try to produce microbiologists, we try to produce a better human resource. That is one important aspect. And then again, why should they come and join some downtown university, or why should they join microbiology at all? So microbiology gives them the opportunity to get a job in different aspects, and moreover it has tremendous research scopes. So jobs in the industrial sector, like there are industries, you people, everything can end, but you cannot do without eating. So if all the industries in the world shuts down, food industries will remain. And if there is a food industry, there has to be a microbiologist.
Yes.
So there is scope for that, jokes apart. And food industries, then pharmaceutical industries, then agriculture, then entrepreneurship, like we had already discussed about all these things earlier. So these are the career prospects and scope in microbiology. And moreover, we have elaborately discussed about the research scope and opportunities and need for quality research in this field. So we need more and more students, because in Northeast India now this trend has emerged, or it has evolved in the younger students. Day before yesterday, I was listening to the boy who had come first in higher secondary science. He was talking about becoming a good researcher. So this has come into them. They have started thinking in that way, that I need to do better research, not only get a job, I need to do better research so that I can do something for the society and bring a change. So that is a very microbiology provides a very wide scope for such researchers. So not only in job, you can have an opportunity in entrepreneurship. You can start your own business, and also in the field of research. And at the Assam Downtown University, we try to groom the students in such a way that whatever it is that the student is trying to achieve, that can be helped. But talking about entrepreneurship, we have an incubation and innovation cell, wherein students with any idea of an entrepreneurship or any innovative idea are groomed. They can go and discuss there. We have the incubation center, and therein they can groom their idea, and many of our students have designed certain say like machines and some ideas, and those have gone on to win some awards also. So those are supports that we provide, and we try to teach them theoretically as well as practically. Projects he has already spoken about. Research project is something that is given in the final semester, so that whatever the students has learned throughout these 5 semesters in BSc and 3 semesters in MSc can be applied. Now we have learned, we teach them in classes, we teach them practical, we teach them theory, but they will not be naturally, because they are in graduation till class 12, they had to have a lot of stress studying science and all those things. When they come out to study graduation, that time they tend to relax a bit, so they may not get everything very serious into seriously, they may not take everything very seriously into that. So this final semester project that they have to take, that they have to pass, that actually develops them as a individual, because if they make any mistake, first of all they will have to be sincere. If they do any mistake during their coursework, during their project work, then they will not get the result. So that develops sincerity in them. They need to be proficient. If they cannot do their work properly, then they will not get the result. So that develops proficiency, that develops skill. So this project indirectly we try to, because they don't realize, when you try to teach someone skill, when you try to teach someone about proficiency, all those things, people become reluctant. But unknowingly, if you put them into a situation wherein they themselves develop those things, at the end when they go out and when they go on to work in an industry or somewhere else, when they get those pressure and they do well, when their seniors appreciate them, then we get a call in the evening from our students saying like, sir, all the things, or ma'am, all the things that you had done earlier actually is, we did not realize that time, but it is actually helping us in our day-to-day life. So that is what we do at Assam Downtown University, and I would like to welcome everyone to come and join microbiology at Assam Downtown University, and we can plan as whatever you wish to achieve in your future.
In today's topic, career mantra, we have heard and we have spoken about microbiology as a career. So by now, I'm very sure that you have learned something about microbiology, and don't forget to admit in Assam Downtown University if you are interested to study microbiology. Well, viewers, in the next episode, we will be bringing another interesting topic to discuss on career mantra. Until then, let's meet in the next show. Till then, take care.